please consider Hi there, it's Hélène with another video. I am hoping to do a get ready with me today, and thought that I would do so because I have all of the Joe Fresh stuff I'm using right now, a lot of it that is new to me, and also a chance for us to catch up a little bit. And it's early in the morning and the lights I'm filming with just feel a little bright, but I have my coffee here and we're just gonna get through it. Trusty coffee in my favorite mug. So what I'm going to be using as I take a sip, I'm going to be starting off with some Drunk Elephant products. That is the brand new focus that I'm doing on skincare, and then also using Joe Fresh products to get ready. I'll also be introducing, as I talked about in my Sephora Filters collection video, I'll also be using a Sephora Collections palette. So if you're curious to get ready with me, then stick around. If you haven't seen the video yet, I have a bunch of Joe Fresh products, and all of the products that I'm going to use aren't even in this bag. They're next to me right here and or in my lipstick area back there. I've got some of the lip balms and some of the glosses back there. So it's nice to get a chance to do a little chit chat as I am getting ready. First thing I'm going to use is the Joe Fresh toner with a cotton pad. That is the Quo cotton pads. For anybody who can shop Quo products here in Canada, I have heard that the Joe Fresh squares, these cotton squares, are similar to these Shiseido squares, and they're less, or around half the price. I'll be looking down a little bit. My mirror is right here, right under the camera. I do find that these get ready with me's are kind of awkward because you know, you're changing the way that you do your makeup when you're doing these, if you do these yourselves. And I'm not big on using compacts to do my makeup or whatnot, so it can be a little bit of a different situation. And if I look down, I apologize. I'm just trying to see what the heck I'm doing. All right, so cotton pad done, toner done. I am going to go in with my Drunk Elephant stuff, and in this case it's going to be the C-Firma and the B-Hydra. Essentially brighten and illuminate, quench and illuminate. Firm, brighten, quench, illuminate. And one thing that I can say ahead of the review is this idea that I've heard from a bunch of people, oh, the Drunk Elephant dispenses the perfect amount of product. Well, maybe these components do not dispense the same amount as the larger bottles. All I can tell you is if I go with one pump of this and one pump of this, I am pulling on my skin. There's not enough product, and it's not like I've got loose skin or anything. It's just it's not physically enough product to go over my face and neck, which is what is suggested. So I'll show you a pump of each. There's like nothing. Like that's not enough for face and neck. So I'm doing 2 pumps. I tried the 1 pump each for 2 days, and then I thought, this is ridiculous. Ew, it's not comfortable. I don't care what I'm hearing. It's not enough for me. And if somebody else has some sort of way, and as you can see, like, it's not like there's a lot here. My hands are already pretty dry. Just have enough for my forehead, and that's pretty much it. There's a lot of forehead. All right. So here we go. Now I did use as well the Proteini polypeptide cream. I had a couple of samples of that. So now it's done, and ironically enough, I'm using a different product in this container, but ironically enough, I do have the Lala Retro container here. So you can know that I have used this cream at some point, but I just don't have any anymore. I am now going to go into the Olay Luminous, there we go, cream. It looks like this. And that is what I use as a brightener cream in the morning. It's not what I use in the evening. I just dab all over, and then on my neck. And that is the cream that I use, along with another one for the eye, which you will see in a minute. I've been using the Olay cream not for that long. I go high end and then kind of high medium, not so medium, like kind of low creams. I tried different brands because I think that a lot of what we pay for is the packaging and the marketing, and I'm just trying to find things that are a good value as far as how they make me feel and how they perform and how they make me feel. A lot of folks will say, well, that shouldn't fit into your skincare. Well, I'm sorry, but if you don't like what you're using, you don't appreciate what you're using, like it doesn't make you feel good, you're not going to use it. And this cream has a wonderful smell and does what I expect it to do, so I'm happy with it. I wouldn't use it as a cream at night, but I'm quite fine with using it in the morning. Now, I'm going to use as well the Marahuja oil, the Sea Brightener eye treatment from Tarte. And this one is brand new, but I have a couple of samples in that container I showed you. You see it's written right there. So that's the one I'm going to be using as opposed to cracking open the other one. And I do depot, as in take multiple samples that I've received out of the package and put it in an empty container. That way I can use just however much that I want to use, and I don't have to worry about sealing that little packet or whatnot, because very often in the packet I find that they give you too much, which is ironic given what I just talked about earlier about the drunk elephant not being enough pumps. I find those single packets, there's just too much dispensed at once, and that if I combine a few of them in a container, then and here's how much is in here. This was 2 packets. I've been using it for what feels like forever. I just find it's a more efficient way of using samples, especially if you've made a couple of orders and you've been ordering the same samples over and over, then that can make sense. Now, it did look like I went kind of close to my eye, but the cream was further down on my finger, so I am happy with that. Okay, I just cleaned up my space just a little bit here, and now I have the Joe Fresh Moisturizing Hydrating Primer. That is what I'm going to use next. And I think this is kind of weird. I didn't expect it to have that kind of a nozzle to it, but I guess that's what it is. I think I have enough. Just this much. I think I have enough. And it is, like I said, a hydrating primer, which I'm happy with. I don't tend to need much of a mattifying primer, although if I do have a couple, this is the one that I have from Joe Fresh, but if I have a couple of primers, and actually I do have another one from Joe Fresh that I was using just yesterday. I tried to use the different products I have. The other one is an illuminating primer, and I used a little bit too much. It was very bronzy, shiny before I put the foundation on. Now, speaking of foundation, the one I have is, and my hands are full of primer here, the one I have is the Hydra Stay Liquid Foundation, and I took it in porcelain because the other one, sand, would have been too dark, I think, and it has argan oil in it, and usually using argan oil in the morning is one of my things. I will use the Physicians Formula argan oil, so I'm very curious to know what this is going to be like. It says an ultra moisturizing, lightweight, tinted formula that provides medium coverage with a demi-matte finish, and this is the pump. So let's see how it goes. I have not used this one yet. I've used another one of them. Okay, so I did 3 pumps here. Not too bad. And I do foundation with my fingers, so if it bugs you, then skip ahead. Well, this is seems to be a better match than the one I was using yesterday. The one I was using yesterday is a higher coverage, and I looked like a ghost face when I was done, but I think I used just a little bit too much of the product, which I think I did again this morning. So I'm going to just wipe off my hands and continue on. I was debating on whether or not to add in some of the D-Bronzi from Drunk Elephant into the foundation based on what happened yesterday, but I just decided to do this product on its own. And the D-Bronzi, if you're curious, I think I have it here, yeah, is a sample that I got from Drunk Elephant as well. And I've used it with foundation, I've used it with moisturizer so far, and I really like it. What it does is it gives like a bronzy tint to the skin. And I think it looks pretty good. Okay, I think that's, well, it's very white, but I think I'm okay. And just bronzing up the skin will help in getting it right. But if I'm going to do this again, which I'm probably going to use it again tomorrow to see if I can get it right, I will be putting the D-Bronzi in it. And I have another option as well if you're curious. This is the Sephora CC Sunscreen Broad Spectrum 20 kind of color change option that I have as well. So even though these foundations are definitely too light, I have ways of getting them to be just about right for me. And because I got foundation on my lips and my lips are dry, little Burt's Bees, doesn't hurt. And if you're curious what I'm using, this one, I buy them in packages of 6. They're a lot cheaper if you buy them in packages of 6. And I just finished, this is the last one I have. I'll show you the package. I had it just next to me in the recycling. So they come in packages of 6. And this is how I buy them. Although, now that I have so many of the Joe Fresh lip balms, I think I'm going to pass on buying these for a little while. They were essentially the equivalent price of what I would pay per unit for this. This is $12 Canadian, so you probably can get these, like I said, of 6 for around $9 US. It's a good value. So I buy them, if you're curious, through Amazon. Okay, let's see here. What do I need to do? I have a little stubborn little redness down here, and I'm going to try the Light Medium Long Wear Spot Concealer. I've only used this once, and I wasn't too crazy about it last time. But let's see. The nozzle dispenses very, very little product, which is good. That's what you want for this stuff. I'm just going to try to use it. Oh yeah, it's not a very good color match. Okay. Okay, moving on. I also wanted to use some of the color correctors. I have the green and the lavender. And what I use is, I use the lavender under my eye for to combat sallowness. Because I have the funky color under my eye that makes me look tired. Now, I would not use these products on the daily. It's just because I'm testing them, and so I would keep this for like a day where I really need to have a perfect face, you know, photo shoot or something. And now I'm using the green around my nose to deal with the little red veins that I have all over the place. So let's take care of this. I feel like I look like a monkey, an orangutan or something. Before I blend it away. Now the lavender, if I use very little, I can get away with just patting it away slightly on my under eye and just walking around like that. I've been really surprised at how nicely it spreads. Like you can still see some purple, but it's not as crazy as when I first put it on, right? So it does kind of dissipate nicely. I'm going to use a couple of different concealers. Now I used this one yesterday, which is the Illuminating Concealer in medium, I think. And when I used it under the eye, it was too dark, but I will use it around my nose. And then this one is now the light, which I thought was a little bit too much of a cool undertone for me, but I think it's going to match better under my eyes compared to the other one. So I will try. Oh gosh. Yeah, I don't know. I think that looks pretty bad. Maybe mix a little bit of this one too. Yikes. Yikes. Well, this is real. We'll see what happens. This is really dark compared to this foundation. Whoa. Okay. Let's see how this works. Oh, God. No. No. This sucks. Oh, my God. I'm gonna have to blend this away. I'm gonna look like a clown. This is what first impressions are all about. I haven't tried all these products in exactly this way, and of course I'm doing it right on camera. That's awesome. Okay, I think the damage is under control. Wow, I've never had that kind of a change, but then again, the lights that I'm using are so bright that maybe they're overemphasizing what I see. I guess editing Hélène can comment on it if she wants. Okay, I think I'm okay with this. I'm going to go in with some powder. And for this, I'm going to use the Joe Fresh Translucent Loose Powder. This is what it looks like. The container opens up. Ooh, a little cloud of powder smoke just rose up. I'm not doing anything fancy. I'm just dipping my brush right into it and tapping it off and going from there. And I'm going to go from the top to the bottom, just to set my foundation. Now, I do not put foundation on every day, nor do I do color corrector every day or concealer every day. I would say most, ooh, I'm not liking the texture. I'm not liking the texture very much here. But we're just gonna go with it. Like I said, the lighting for me is not the best, so I'm gonna have trouble seeing exactly what the final result is. And of course the camera won't lie. When I'm editing, I'm gonna be going, why didn't I do this? And why didn't I do that? And too bad. This is real life. As much as doing your makeup in front of a camera is real life. Okay, and I did find this powder somewhat drying, but I don't want to go and reach out my CoverGirl Advanced Radiance 105, which is also drugstore, but I'm just going to use this setting powder under my eye, even though it's going to be a little bit too dry. Okay, I think I'm done with that powder. I am going in now with a double-sided bronzer. It is the Bronzer Duo in Sun-Kissed. And so it has a matte side and an illuminating side. And I'm just going to use the matte side for now. Just going to take care of my forehead and cheeks right up to the hairline. It's a little bit of a cooler bronzer, and I have another one that is more, that is darker. If you want to see everything that I got, you can definitely take a look at that intro video for the brand. But I am doing a cooler eye look today, so I thought that the cooler bronzer would be a good idea. So I'm going to do that. And I'm going to put, breaking the rules, I'm going to put cream product on top of powder in a bit. Shocker. But it just works better for me as I use these. I don't have a cream bronzer from Joe Fresh, so given that I have powder, I am using what I have. And I don't have contour products either, so I'm going to contour with my bronzer. I've done this as well with the butter bronzer and it works fine. Okay, a little bit along the jawline. And I call that done. Now I'm going to dispense with the illuminating side of it because I have a cream illuminator and that's what I'm going to use. So speaking of, that's pretty much what we're at. I'm going to be using this a cream blush, which is the blush stick in Rose. And I'm also going to be using what's called the highlighter stick. And for that, I'm going to be using a cream-friendly brush, which is, oh, I didn't tell you, this is the Quo powder brush, Deluxe All Over powder brush. Very scientific. And this is a Sephora brush, and it is the Multitasker Contour. Lovely, because that's exactly what I'm doing, is using a cream product. Now, this is what the blush looks like. And I've used it already 3 or 4 times. I like it. As I mentioned in one of my recent videos, I think it's coming, it's not up yet. I have been convinced of the NARS, pardon me, I have been convinced of cream and liquid blush. Woo, I want a little heavy, by the couple of samples from the NARS Orgasm. And just have to take care of this before it sets. And I was really impressed with how easy it is to put on cream blush, and the effect, it just blends right into the skin. It doesn't look like it's on top of the skin, and I really like that. And so I decided that that is what I want in a blush whenever it's available. And as I guess luck would have it, where I went to, there was no powder blush at the Joe Fresh counter I went to. So these were my options, and I got this one, and I also got a Peach Dream, it's called. And ooh, the Rose is a lot stronger of a blush than the peach one, but we're gonna make it work. So I put on exactly how much I would need for the peach one, and I haven't used this one, the Rose one, in 5 days, I think, and I forgot how strong it is. So yeah, a little bit rough. I think I'm just going to blend a little bit with the bronzer on my temples because I went a little high. Okay, I think disaster averted. I think it's going to be the theme today. There's all sorts of stuff that's happening, but I mean that's what happens when you try products, right? You never know what is going to happen. Now this is the illuminator, and this one takes quite a bit to put on. Just watch though, I'll screw it up. So I just put it on my cheekbone. Oh yeah, it's looking nice. I am redeeming myself. And I'm putting some on my nose, and Cupid's bow, and pulling it up to the top. Okay, that is for the illuminator. Now, it's definitely not a very full coverage foundation, but I don't mind it. I don't need a full coverage foundation, but I am noticing that there's less than some people might want. I have a bunch of brow products. This is actually an eye primer that I will get to in a bit. Since I'm in here, this is the illuminating primer I was telling you about. Is that not shiny as heck? And the other foundation. And I even have 2 other kinds of concealer too. Like there was a lot to choose from this this brand, even though it was on mega clearance. I'm going to try to use more products. I'll show you the one I'm not using, which is a universal. It's called the Universal Brow Crayon, and if you only have 30 seconds, this is fantastic. You might be aware of something similar in the Sephora Brow Freeze, I think it's called. Very similar, although this is a lot creamier. That could be good or bad, depends on what you like. Oh, and there's an aspect of this that I really like. The caps on each side, so there's a spoolie to this pencil, and then a pencil crayon, the crayon tip, obviously, but they're both the same size, so no matter which way you put the cap on, it always works and it doesn't jam the pencil. I have had quite a rant on the micro Micro Brow, I think it's called, from NYX. The caps are 2 different lengths, and I had quite a rant in a video. I'll link it because it's a hoot. I keep jamming the head of the pencil in the shorter cap that is the spoolie cap, and I cannot tell you how often I've had to sharpen, or not sharpen, but twist up the pencil more because of the fact that I screwed it up. So this is not exactly my color. It's called Ash, but it was the only one available, so I took it. Well, no, there was blonde, but I knew blonde was not going to go. So it's a little bit too brown for me. And I don't think I'm going to go all the way in, because the more I go into the brow, the more it shows that it's not the right color. So I think I'm going to stop right about there. Okay, let's see. And again, don't care which side I put the cap on. Let's see what this looks like. So this is the Universal Brow Sculpting Wax. And it's nice because there's a, don't know if you're going to hear it. There's a click that happens when you are putting the product back in. And it's a pretty fine angle, which I like because I get a lot of precision when I put the wax into my brows. So I really like it. Now, I did the wax first last time, and this time I'm doing it second, and I was just wanting to see if it was going to move the crayon around, the pencil marks around. So far it doesn't look too bad. Now, it's not my favorite product, but I don't think it's bad either. Especially if somebody wants a more natural looking brow, I think it can do a good job. And I suck at doing brows when I think somebody's waiting for me, and since I've got you guys watching, I feel like you're waiting for me to finish. Which I guess in some ways you are, but I can fast forward, obviously. So I'm just using the spoolie again just to get the hairs kind of lined up and see what it looks like. I'm okay with it, I think. Like I said, it's not a great color match for me, but I'm trying out products and I don't have a problem with this type of pencil. Just like I said, just a little bit with the color. Let's get to eyes. So I'm going to use that eye primer. It feels very wet compared to some other primers that I use, but it is what it is. I don't have a problem with it specifically, it's just an observation that it's a lot wetter than I'm used to. I'm going to set the eye primer with the Smashbox palette, and this is a palette that I'm attempting to pan for 2019. And I'm not trying to be a hero here and pan the whole thing. I am just determined to use more of this eyeshadow palette and because a lot of the colors in here are good to set eyeshadow, and I don't see why I would buy something like the Sephora Beauty Amplifier or the Wet n Wild Creme Brulee to set my eye when I have a palette that's just sitting there that I don't particularly love because I got it from someone, and I don't know, my feelings about it were different. I'll link the intro to this Pan That Palette, I guess, video that I filmed right here, just so that you can get more of my thought process on it. It's not a bad palette. I don't mind Smashbox shadows at all. It's just the way I feel about this particular palette, if that makes sense. All right, we're moving along. Unless I'm doing a really colorful look, I don't like to put the shadow that I'm trying to focus on directly on the eye primer. I like to have a powdery base because I find it's easier to blend, unless I want specific positioning for different products. Okay, I think the eye primer is set. I'm going to go in with this Joe Fresh in Pale Pink in the crease. It barely showed last time I used it, but I'm going for a dusty rose look today, kind of a darker dusty rose, so I think that'll be a good starting point. We'll see if anything shows up. And I'm using just a Quo brush called a crease shadow brush. Just in the crease and going up. Yeah, I'm just seeing a little bit of color, but nothing much. Okay, so that's my start. Again, pale pink. That's the only Joe Fresh shadow I'm going to use. And I'm going into now the Vintage Filter palette. I'm going to be using the Dusty Rose colors in here. These guys and this one is what I'm going to be using. So I guess I'm going into Dusty Rose and kind of a plum color. I'm going to go into Coffee Break and deepen the crease a little bit. I'll use the palette, why not? At least it has a big mirror. It's not always the case. Although I have to say most of the eyeshadows that I buy, most of the palettes I buy, I make sure that there's a big mirror. Despite the fact that I usually use my bathroom mirror. But I do travel, so that matters too. Wow, that eye primer really dries my eyes. Wow, my God, my eyes look so dry. My whole face looks so dry. Ugh, okay. Oh boy, okay. Oh, there it is. I'm looking for my angled brush and it was in my other hand. Actually, I changed my mind. I'm going to go in and do the brow bone first. Ooh, powdery. Woo! And I'm going in with Secret Boudoir to do my brow bone. Okay, if you are using this palette, Secret Boudoir is really, really powdery, but this one has been discontinued for a while, I think over a year. It was a special collection that Sephora did. Okay, so note to self, Secret Boudoir is very dusty. Alright, so I'm going to go in with my angled brush, and I'm going to go into Rustic for the outer V. I don't like going in with a whole ton of powder to begin with, and I'm only putting the powder on the one side of the brush so that I don't have, by mistake, a whole lot of extra powder transferring to further up on the lid, or, you know, into the crease. So, if you're curious what I'm doing. I really like angled brushes because it gives a lot of control. Holy cow, am I ever dry. Like, I don't think my eyes have looked this dry in a long time. What the hell is going on? That eye primer is horrible. I've got folds. I've got folds going on. Holy shoot. I don't think I'm going to be using that eye primer again. Wow. Wow. And I think it's the eye primer. It could be that Joe Fresh shadow, though. I've never used that one before. Yeah, that's pretty scary stuff. if you want to see what your eyes are going to look like in 10-15 years, wear that eye primer. I'm decluttering this after this video. Like, no, I'm not wearing that again. I will try it with another shadow just to make sure it is the eye primer, but I don't like what happened today. I went in with, distracted. I went in with hashtag it's vintage on the inner lid. And I'm learning from all my videos that I was not putting my inner lid shadow high enough so there would be a harsh line. And now I take it way higher. I didn't realize how high my crease was. And so if you're wondering how your eyeshadow looks, I highly recommend filming yourself from all sorts of different angles doing stuff. And you will see exactly how you need to change your eyeshadow application. It's been a really great learning experience for me. I think I'm going to take it a little bit higher up with whatever's left on the brush. Woo, that was too much. That was way too much. Okay, I'm getting old lady vibes with this look. What else do we want to do here? Just need to blend this a little bit more. Okay, that is going to be the shadows I used today. So I used four of the shadows. That's good. I was wanting to use all of the kind of dusty rose shadows, but I think I'm going to use, just going to use this smudge brush and take that rustic on the lower lash line. I think that will look nice. And I think I'll just take it again on the, a little bit on the upper, following the lash line on the upper lid. I like the effect that's giving. Despite the fact that I don't like how the shadows are looking on my eye whatsoever. I mean, this is rough looking, but whatever. I need to figure out why my eyes look like this. Okay, so that is what I'm doing here. And do I want to do anything else aside from brushing away fallout? I think we're going to call that a day. I'm going to go in with some liner. Again, Vintage Filter palette. I'll clean off my brushes later. And I guess we have liner and mascara. And for the liner, I think I'm going to use... I'm going to dispense with the lower, like putting liner on the lower lash line, anything dark, because I think my eyes are looking less than pretty today, but I will put the champagne color from Joe Fresh on the lower waterline. Oh, shoot. Real life screw up right there. Okay, I'm gonna fix that. That pencil just slipped right down onto the lash line. Okay, let's try that again. And now for mascara, I'm going to be using Perversion from the Urban Decay line. And it's always a bit of a challenge to do mascara with a compact, but I will try. This is the brush for Perversion. If you're curious, it's part of my mascara madness. I'm trying to use up a bunch of mascaras that I've had open for a while before they all go, because mascara does not last so long. But I really like this one, and some folks don't like it. I found that it's very liquidy for the first couple weeks, but then it kind of dries up a little bit, and that it ends up looking pretty good. So a couple of coats and you're pretty much good to go. I'm always curious about how people put mascara on, because we always make kind of funny faces, don't we? Oh gosh, and I just smudged a little bit. Luckily that's easy to clean up. So if you ever mess up on mascara, get some on your cheek or whatever, you don't want to wipe it off right away, even though you want to get rid of how goofy you look. By letting it dry, you can just flake it off with a Q-tip afterwards, and that works for on the lid, on the cheek, wherever you end up slipping up with your mascara. And I think that that's one of the best tips ever, because I think most people wear mascara and we all end up with that kind of an issue at some point, like I did today. Okay, I think a couple of coats looks fine. I'm going to do my lips, and we're going to call this look done. I think I'm going to go in with the gloss called Wine, and I'm going to pair it with a Wet n Wild liner, I think. I have two. I have Fab Fuchsia and Plumberry, and I'm just going to swatch them along with the gloss and see which one looks better. And along with the lip gloss. If you want to see all my lip swatches and try-ons, I will link the video right here. Okay, it looks like Fab Fuchsia is going to be the closest one, so that's what we're going to use. If I had been betting, I would have actually said the other one, so Plumberry, but apparently not. I had looked for lip liners from Joe Fresh, but they were pretty picked over when I got there. If you haven't heard the story about this whole Joe Fresh thing, I'm trying a whole bunch of from the brand because it went on at the specific store that I went to, not everywhere, but it went on 75% off, and then I had an extra discount, so I bought a whole bunch of stuff to try the line because I felt, well, I just decided to be super opportunistic. And I'm glad I did because I discovered some fun stuff. Just not the eye primer or powder, one of the two. Something's doing this to my eye. Anyway, have I harped on that enough? Seriously. Okay, now for the Joe Fresh gloss in Wine. Oh, and the applicator looks like this. Just a regular doe foot. And here is the finished look. What do you think? Oh, I forgot to take care of the mascara, didn't I? Okay, here it is in real time. Again with the weird faces. So the mascara just pretty much flicks right off. So there we go. Okay, now here's the finished look. I think it looks okay for, for all the complaining about the eyeshadow look, but the only thing I think that this lip does not go with the look. I think it would be better if I had more of a peachy, even though it's supposed to be rose colors, I think more of a peachy bronzy lip would look better. So I think I'm going to change it. After all that, I'm going to go with, instead, Sweet Nectar. My second favorite all-time gloss from Joe Fresh. And this is what it looks like. All right. I think this works better, don't you? I am, yeah, and I'm a little bit surprised at just how tame the look ended up being. I thought that I was going to have like punchier colors. I really thought that rustic was going to be a little bit darker than it is. And I guess I could have gone further with it, but I mean, if anything, it tells me this is a very safe palette for just about anybody for, you know, as far as shade selection. But yeah, that's the look. Thanks for getting ready with me today, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions or comments about any of the products, please leave them down below. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you like the content on this little channel in general, please consider subscribing. I would appreciate it very much. Thanks for your time today. I look forward to seeing you in the next video. But for now, take care. What is with a train when I'm trying to finish a video? Holy cow! How long is this gonna last?